My name's Chris.
And I'm Kristie.
This is the Washing Up Podcast, and we've finished
what we knew would be
Survival Week.
Which turned out to be only one person's going home week. So in that sense, you had a better chance of survival than you have in other weeks.
Where's the kaboom? There was supposed to be an earth-shattering kaboom.
Well,
the most lackluster week I think I've ever seen, and one of the most disappointing weeks I've ever seen, simply from this mega elimination, which ended up being one person going home. So as you pointed out last episode, that means that one less person went home that would normally go home in a week of Masterchef.
So it's more likely you'll survive.
And more importantly, the 10-year Superpower, which may be the most disappointing thing since George Columbara said, yes, I will be back for another series. I don't really know where to go with it. It was horrible. Like, everyone just sort of, when they said it, like, people were feigning.
Like,
So
okay,
to tell people what it is, you get what they're referring to as this 10-year Superpower. You get an apron with a gold Masterchef thing on it. We've done this before, by the way, the golden apron. Right?
The power apron.
We've done the power apron before.
But this is the Superpower apron.
The Superpower mega.
It should have come with a fucking cape on the back.
The CompuGlobal Hyper Meganet of...
At least like a little golden lasso and a tiara or something.
It's now Junior Vice President Chloe speaking. Anyway. So what we've got is a situation where she can cook. Chloe can cook. She won the challenge, and we'll mention this briefly in a minute. Chloe can cook. She can see if she serves something that she thinks is a bit crap, and then she can opt out of any tasting. So she doesn't have to have her dish tasted, which means they can't put her through to elimination for that one.
Yeah,
I'd like to see her screw up and do it on a mystery box.
Whoops.
That'd be funny.
The other thing too, right, is like if it's a Superpower apron, which means that you're now a superhero, like shouldn't this, like, could you imagine how much more kind of like coverage that the men's apron would have, because the women's outfits are usually skimpier.
Oh, and you can hear things in the background, by the way, people. Much like the legendary, now new legendary podcast, Sizzletown. We've got sound effects, but unlike Sizzletown, they have 3.
We only have 1.
We got 1. It's a barking dog.
And it just goes off randomly. We can't control it.
Yeah, we don't have any control over that. So hopefully our sound effects guy will be back next week with maybe 3. So with that in mind, let's move on to last night. Now last night was Sashi and Chloe, and it was a kitchen challenge where they were all alone.
Yep.
They were all on their own, and they had to do a main and they had to do a dessert.
They're alone like the guy from...
They're alone like Monty Python's Spamalot. Right.
Yes.
For anyone who's ever heard the song I'm All Alone from Monty Python's Spamalot, which features a giant chorus of all the knights in the background singing He's All Alone Apart From Us. And it's this beautiful like 5-piece harmony behind the king saying I'm all alone, because they were all alone except for Gary and
and the camera crew.
And the camera crew, obviously. But they were on their own and they did it all themselves. Now, Sashi, they drew knives out to see who got what.
What kind of protein, meat,
Sashi
or seafood?
Got the seafood. Chloe got the meat, which, given that she'd spoken the night before about not liking meat and 3 veg, she ended up having to cook meat and 3 veg. So
and
Sashi,
then they had to go to Coles to do the shopping.
Now, let's talk about that.
Because you go to Coles, right? Now, twice. Once... The deli person at the seafood counter was like all knowledgeable about the seafood
and really looking forward to serving as well.
I know, they weren't like deliberately like had their back to you, like shaving or wrapping something.
I wanted to see them there, like, you know, like not paying attention, or there being a queue and you got to take a number.
Yeah, or they're talking to one of their colleagues out the back cupboard.
Or as I sort of put it, you know, why did nobody in Coles look around and go, hey, why are those fuckwits running around in aprons?
Or there's no one there until someone else walks by and then goes, oh, is there no one at the counter? Hold on. And then they disappear for 5 minutes.
And they never come back.
And they never come back. So...
But, yeah, they got served by someone who seemed to be knowledgeable.
And then Chloe's at the meat freezer or the meat fridge, and this woman comes up, oh, can I help you out today?
That's never happened.
Never happened. happened?
Never happened. Down, services down.
Do-do-do-do.
Except for the Coles they were at. Do-do-do-do. So, of course, as we know, all great chefs...
Maybe because they're not spending money on plastic bags anymore. They're spending it on stuff and
all
service.
great chefs, by the way, as we know, begin their day by standing around the kitchen going, so what do you want to do? Yeah, we'll do the snapper. Yeah, what do you want to... Oh, I might do pork. Yeah, I might do pork. Yeah, that'd be good. Cool. Off to Coles. So Chloe ended up she had to do meat and Sashi had to do seafood.
He got some mighty fine snapper.
So Sashi was doing the fish. Obviously, he was cutting her up. He had Gary over his shoulder a lot last night.
Criticising what he was doing a lot, telling him to hurry up.
Lots of telling him to hurry up.
You don't have enough time. A lot of that.
They tasted his fish and George, for some reason. Now, I would like to know how this managed to happen. George managed to get the bit that had both a small bone and a small scale.
And all I've got to say to that, guys, is if you don't want bones or scales in your fucking food, give one person more than 2.5 hours to serve a main and a dessert to 30 fucking people, all right?
I would like them to have these challenges be somewhat... I'd like them to have these challenges be somewhat, lifelike.
Yeah.
Vaguely. Like we always said, like we said last year a few times with regards to when Eloise went home with the egg. Like... With Eloise, when she went home with the egg, at least you could say you went home trying to inject caramel into a normal egg and take the egg yolk out. I mean, like, that's what you want to go home on. Also, I'd like to say that I really appreciated everyone last night getting on the Frasier bandwagon on Twitter. We had quite the Twitter night last night. Frasier gifs
had entered the Twitter sphere.
So lots of Niles. We started off basically with Niles tweets, and then it sort of expanded a little bit more. And then it expanded a bit more out. Now we need to check back in. Because during this challenge, Gary was there.
Yes.
But none of the other contestants were.
No.
Because they were off preparing for Rosencrantz and Guildenstern Are Dead
by Masterstock.
So
I reckon they cleared out because they couldn't cook at the Masterchef kitchen because it was being cleared out because it was being set up as a stage and a performance studio for the day. So they've what's it called? They've blocked in. What's that thing called?
They do the blocking, yeah.
No, it's that other word. Bumped in the set. Everything's ready to go. Khan's there, with the little beret and the director's hat.
Khan's doing the blocking.
Yeah.
And a cape.
And a cape.
We discussed the cape tonight, actually, on Twitter. We asked Khan where his cape was. He said he couldn't wear one in the kitchen.
But he can on stage.
And we can wear it in the gantry and on stage. I did tell him just either tie it back in the kitchen or go to the gantry more often.
Now, the person who had the biggest challenge was Samira because she only had 24 hours to learn her lines.
That's a bit difficult.
Yeah. But she was involved and apparently went really well. Raved reviews.
Ben got to toss the coin.
Oh, did he?
So Ben got to do the heads and tails the whole way through. That was his thing. Monotonous, regular, like clockwork. Just didn't
predictable.
Exactly.
Could tell what's coming out.
Ben nailed it. It was absolutely perfect. So the Masterstock players did a very good job. I hear that there's possibly going to be a second run.
Ooh.
So and
maybe a rooftop performance.
Remember, there's also a second Masterstock. Masterstock 2 Electric Boogaloo. And that's the group of contestants that have already been eliminated who have had time to go and prepare properly.
And they've got in a few professionals, I presume. Kate Blanchett's taken them under their wing. Jeffrey Rush has come along to do a bit of
there's funding. There's lots of funding.
Yeah, because, once they've done their, what's it called? Their work experience, say at Sabre or whatever it is, then they're off to fucking the Sydney Theatre Company.
Oh yeah, well again, there's funding
for a brief stint,
and there's always funding. I believe when Kate Blanchett was involved in the big sort of national convention that she was involved with under Kevin Rudd, that she actually had it written into the Constitution.
Masterstock.
And Kate Blanchett shall receive funding forevermore for whatever project she deems necessary.
And Masterstock is a necessary.
Masterstock 2 Electric Boogaloo. That's the plan. So anyway, back to what we were actually talking about. Well, vaguely.
So Sashi cooks a good snapper.
Well, the problem I had was again, they were all alone, but I couldn't hear them being all alone through the sound of Gary.
Yeah,
He never shut his mouth.
No, he didn't. And look, there's been some arguments about, what is actually going on in the background and not shown on camera. But what we can judge is only what we see on camera. So the story last night that unfolded is Gary is criticising Sashi and putting pressure on him at every turn. Yet on Chloe's side, she's running late and her plating is late and everything's running late. And then he gives her step-by-step instructions on how to cook those mushrooms.
He stood at the pass and step-by-step narrated it.
Yeah, but she was late and she was going to be in trouble.
Yeah. So
I didn't see the trouble, though.
So, no, neither did I. And it was a service challenge and that was part of it. So that's our complete review on Chloe.
Yep. She served some pork belly in a broth.
Chloe put some pork belly in a broth up. The judges liked it. It could have been salty. It could not have been salty. We're not going to comment on that. Sashi, on the other hand.
Yeah.
Look, Sashi, I thought, did a really decent job of that fish.
That fish came out beautifully.
Unfortunately, as I said, George got the bit with the bone and George got the bit with the scale. Dessert-wise, they actually liked Sashi's dessert, even though
the flavours and stuff.
Even though it melted a little bit.
Yeah, it's still a lot of good technique.
Yeah, they thought that the flavours were actually quite good, and they just said that, and they said to Sashi, you are the master of flavours when it comes to this sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Sashi did a very good job of getting that up there, and they thought that dessert was wonderful. Chloe also served a dessert. The judges tasted it, and they judged it accordingly. At the end of the day, Sashi didn't manage to get through. Chloe won the power. Chloe's power was that she can back out of any cook that she wants, even after she's finished it.
Yeah.
But my thing on that is it's a one-go power. It's not very powerful.
Yeah. Oh my God! What a second sound effect!
Oh yes, we got a cat. Wow. Maybe we get to the third.
Oh my God!
Is it the cat and the dog fighting?
One can only hope. I hope it's not the bees.
Not the bees. Not the bees. So anyway,
so
that was last night, and it was a wonderful night, and everyone got to enjoy it, and it was a night of MasterChef, and what a night.
Yeah, I was overwhelmed. I was thrilled. I felt very contented by that judging. I thought it was fair and reasonable. I didn't see them showing any sign of favouritism at all. The storytelling was completely in line with the outcome, and I think that it set us up very well for tonight.
All right, so we'll get into tonight.
Reece used his pin.
Yep.
Which we knew before the actual show because of all the promos.
Yep, we'll get into that now. So Chloe's up on the gantry, and
it was good because she was up on the gantry.
It was wonderful, which means we weren't going to get in trouble for tweeting anything. Look, you guys all know that review was absolute bullshit on behalf of Chloe, but we're not prepared to enter into negative arguments. So it happened. It's a thing.
Now tonight,
this was a good episode, though.
Good episode. One big fucking disappointment, though. Hatching animals out of the fucking snow egg. Where was that bitch?
Let's talk about it. So,
come on.
So, Peter Gilmore walks in.
Yes.
It's going to be a snow egg. It's going to be a snow egg. We're going snow egg too. Right?
Now, I reckon if Reece knew who was coming through that door, he might have thought twice about using his pin.
Well, he sort of said, you tweeted, and he sort of said that he would have thought about it.
Yeah, sliding doors moment in another dimension. Reece, didn't use his pin and nailed it.
I mean, Jess would have been thrilled because Jess has been practicing the snow egg. We've seen her do it 3 times.
She's pictures, please.
My problem with that was for poor Jess was that she was a bit worried that Peter Gilmore was coming to him and suing for copyright infringement.
She's like, shit!
Oh, God, he's on to me. He's really on to me. But the animals. Now, we've been practicing.
Yep.
Because we're like, no, we can do this.
What can come out of a snow egg that would be pretty phenomenal?
So what were you thinking in terms of your
Phoenix.
Snow egg?
Okay, the snow egg melts down, and out of the slosh comes a phoenix. It's like an ice phoenix, not a fire phoenix.
I was about to say that it was a fire phoenix. You don't actually have to melt anything on top or crack it. It melts from inside out, and the phoenix takes off.
Yeah.
Granted, your dessert evaporates.
And it's served with Conchita Wurst in the background singing, "Rise like a phoenix out of the snow egg," singing.
I was actually sort of hoping for something a little bit different.
Oh, what were you hoping for?
I was hoping for an aphid. One, botanicals are in. Secondly, and far more importantly...
It would fit in the snow egg.
Secondly, and far more importantly, I'm looking at it from a basis of, with a snow egg, what don't you want to ruin the rest of the dessert? Right? Now, a phoenix, it's going to be great when it bursts out, but your dessert's fucked.
Yeah.
An aphid, on the other hand...
Not taking up too much room.
Not taking up a lot of room. You can just move it to one side.
Glass is still...
I've thought about this. Right? There is a long thought process to the aphid snow egg.
It's not very spectacular, though. Are you
attitude.
going to glitter the aphid at least? Like, just roll it in a bit of edible glitter?
The aphid will be trained to do a bit like the frog in the Warner Brothers. Hello, my baby. Hello, my honey. Hello, my... Very slow. Not going to lie. Not very emotive. And probably very hard to see. But...
Most aphids would, in that case, would accidentally get eaten.
Look. Do
you think it would drown?
They're specially trained. They're specially trained aphids.
Would it drown in, like, the...
No, aphids can survive in your garden. Like, you put the sprinkler on, they survive.
Yeah, but then people eat them and the RSPCA comes along.
No, they're specially trained aphids.
To what? Escape digestion?
I don't have to put the work into what I'm going to do around the dessert with an aphid because it's not going to be ruined. So I can put all my work into training. I have thought this through long and hard, right? My effort is going to be training the aphids.
Oh, God, here we go.
You don't seem sold on this idea.
No, because I know what one of the rooms in our renovations is going to become. The Aphid Training Centre of Excellence. ATE. ATE. It's going to be the 8th room, the Aphid Training Centre. Or at C room? I don't know. It needs a fancier acronym.
So anyway, we moved into this, it was just the snow egg, which was bitterly disappointing. It's the farewell.
Aphid Performance Hub in Demand. And then it spells Aphid as its acronym.
I love the fact you sat there and worked on that.
I did.
So we got to the snow egg, and it was, first of all, a normal snow egg. Then it was 3 snow eggs. And we're going to give you less time than you got to make one. One of the complaints this season has been about, the judges going, they're not really... Are they really performing to the standard consistently? Are they all hitting the standard consistently? Taking away time and adding 2 other snow eggs is a great way to get quality.
It's just so stupid. We're not here to see people fail. We want to see people do good.
The point of the first snow egg was, yes, it was spectacular. That was the point. It was supposed to be something that they could put quality work into and produce something that was genuinely breathtaking. Not rush 3 of them out like they're working in the kitchen with Peter Gilmore and they just have to knock a snow egg out.
Yeah.
Right? It was about making the best you could make. So I didn't particularly like the 3.
I think it was just greedy. They all wanted 1 each. It's like...
Well, they didn't get it, though. They had to share. Oh, no, for the judges. But when they got the tastings, they didn't get... They had to share because they weren't going to spruik for that many.
No.
Right.
But all the judges wanted 1 each. It's like, oh, God.
And this brings up another interesting point. No Gary. Now...
And no Vespa.
Yeah.
No Gary, no Vespa.
I don't put the 2 together because
I do.
Okay, I cannot picture Gary on the Vespa. Although, have we thought the Vespa might have been on Gary? Have we thought that Gary might be just piggybacking the Vespa around Melbourne just to show it the sights?
He's a bit disillusioned with Masterchef this season.
Rather than dragging a rock around, he's dragging a Vespa.
Release the Vesper of shame and attach the Vesper of triumph.
It just seemed really... It seemed weird this year. They've all missed...
There's been quite a lot of absences, and we've not had this many absences. Oh, God, I can't talk. Maybe I'm getting the same disease that's affecting George.
You're going to have to be away and there'll be an
I'm going to be saying saute.
Oh, don't start me on the fucking saute and celery.
Oh, and healthy.
Yeah, right. So we'll weave this in as we go because we're not going to talk about the whole masterclass because we turned it off. But we started to watch it. It was going to be really interesting. And then George started cooking and it got really bad. But
it's not his cooking, it's his pronunciation of things. Like,
Okay, so the
How
only
do you
time...
even get saute?
The only time I have ever heard George Columbaris willingly say the word salary is when he means celery.
When does he say like satay, like satay?
Maybe the problem with his payment system is he doesn't salary. He's like, well, why would they want that? It's a long stem vegetable that you're going to dice up and put into a broth. And George can't see that's it.
He's paying them in boxes of celery.
He's paying them in celery. It all makes sense. It's just a misunderstanding.
And when he sees gross salary, he puts like, rotten.
The rotten stuff is the gross. And the net celery, he weaves it together like a basket. So this mega elimination,
Yes.
was one.
Mm.
It was one person. Like, it's not a mega, as we pointed out. It was
just mega of who was in it.
It just meant it was a 6-person pressure test.
And it seemed to me just to be a ploy to get rid of immunity pins.
Yeah, let's talk about that. So there was a lot of discussion. We had a discussion about it this afternoon. This week was designed to take out immunity pins.
Hells yeah.
Like, the idea was they sent someone home early on with an immunity pin, and then if Sashi had also got to this week and still had his pin with him,
he'd be...
Sashi would have used his pin too.
Yep.
Right? This week was put in there to take the immunity pins out. I suspect so they could make that 10-year superpower thing seem more important. Because the only way that's important is if it's the only thing
advantage
left.
Yep.
If they've taken every other advantage out, the only advantage they've got left is this superpower. So suddenly it's a bit more super.
I'm feeling super. Thanks for asking.
Just imagine that you screw up the first cook and you've got to burn it in the first week. That could be funny.
It'd be great if she did a Khan. I have an immunity pin.
Poor Khan. Peter Gilmore, sort of the way that he was... This is the exact same flavour of egg as it was in season 2, to which I've gone, in fact, it's the same one.
They've pulled it out of the Australian Film and Television Archives, where it's been sitting in a vault.
They're sitting there with number 96 posters and... Now, they kept on referring to it as an Australian food icon.
No.
Would you consider the snow egg an Australian food icon?
It's recognisable in Masterchef spheres.
If you've watched Masterchef, the snow egg is recognisable. If you checked out a news.com.au article the day after the grand final of Masterchef, it's recognisable.
If you are watching a clickbait thing on Americans tasting arsey staples, it doesn't come up.
No, it doesn't come up.
Vegemite.
No.
Meat pies.
Outback Steakhouse comes up, and that's not even as really Australian.
I know. Bloomin' onions. Kookaburra wings.
Oh, God, no, that's
not even
shit.
those, but yeah.
But it's... Unless you've been to Key, and even then...
They're not serving it anymore, are they?
No, it's off the menu.
Yeah. Peter Gilmore went, fuck this, fuck the snow egg.
And that's why they did this big thing tonight of, it's sending out a classic. It's been off the menu for a little bit now.
Yep.
Like, literally the producers just said to him, can we do the snow egg again? And he's like, you can almost hear Peter Gilmore sort of like...
punching through walls.
Do I have to?
Yeah, I've got other food. Did you know I don't just do desserts?
Like, again, the surprise on their faces when they're showing all the snippets about what they were cooking tonight in the masterclass. Peter Gilmore starts with something that's not a dessert.
Yeah.
And you can just picture them going...
Jess is going, what?
Oh, my God. You've got something that's not a dessert. I thought you only made desserts.
But don't you just make snow eggs all day? Don't you have a snow egg factory in the North Pole that only produces snow eggs and it's Santa's favourite food?
I'm just imagining Will Ferrell and Elf. So let's talk about the biggest problem with this challenge.
Yes.
Because there's not a lot of specifics to this challenge, right? There's not a huge amount of specifics to it. It's a fucking snow egg, right? Not much by way of specifics. The problem has been the same problem they've had all series. In fact, it's the same problem that is had in every MasterChef series. This series in particular, though, has had a very bad run of it. Read the fucking recipe.
Yep.
If you are given a recipe, read it properly. Like, they went over to Ben and went, have you read this? And he goes, I skimmed it once. And they're like, you better read it again. So we stood there and read it again. Kristen read it, but sort of skimmed it a bit. And I think for Kristen it was a little bit of, and I've taught kids before who are really hyper intelligent, and they do a test and they read the first couple of words of the question, and because they know like so much, they just read the first couple of words and go, oh yeah, I got this.
And this is her ballpark as well.
Yeah,
like
and that's what I'm saying. But that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Because she's a dessert person, she's read the first couple of bits of it and gone, yeah, I can do that.
Yeah,
I can do that. And skimmed and rushed through to start doing this and start doing that, and missed a whole pile of stuff.
It just broke my heart because I'm like, the people who I weren't worried about going into this were Jess and Kristen. I thought they've got this easy peasy Japanesey.
Well, Jess has been practicing it nonstop.
Yeah, Khan. I was worried for him. Like, just he's like, I'm going to die.
But what a snow egg he turned out.
I know.
The judges loved it.
Spectacular.
They were thoroughly impressed. Like, we were sitting there, oh God, no. And they're like, all the positives, and we're waiting for the negative. And they went, next dish. And it's like, oh God, he's safe.
What I have to say, though, is the past pressure test that Ben has been in has set him up well for tonight.
Yep.
Because
Ben's had a lot of
if
practice.
Kristen had practice in a lot of pressure tests, I reckon she would have knocked it out of the park.
Yeah. Ben's had a lot of practice at these pressure tests. And so what we've seen is, for example, Ben turned around at one point tonight and gave her, this is really stressful. And it's not a shot at Ben, it's just his delivery.
It's him.
It's him. There's nothing.
It's glorious.
Nothing seems to ever be a stress.
No, this is stressful.
Nothing ever.
There's no change.
Nothing ever seems to be.
It's delightful.
Now, I do need to do something, and we are not making fun of Ben before anyone thinks we are. We are not making fun of Ben, but we were having a conversation with, let's just refer to him as Robert H. And he was singing something to himself, and I'm going to perform it for you. Picture yourself in all blacks in the kitchen with guava, snow egg, and Masterchef trials. Suddenly someone is there at the cooktop, but Ben with colitis gets by.
Peter in the Masterchef
kitchen. Not a shot at Ben. It was just really funny, and I had to share that because it was bloody hilarious. So, although as a couple of people pointed out, Ben did talk about postponing major life surgery to come on to MasterChef, and I'm like, priorities, dude. I wouldn't have, and I like these. I love these sorts of shows, but I wouldn't. I'd go have the surgery done.
I really hope that it's not one of those things that gets worse with time.
Don't we all? So now,
wow.
On the bad news, however, for Ben, and not that the disease was good news, but he's okay at the moment.
Yeah.
The bad news for poor Ben. His twirl.
Oh dear.
Okay, so
it looked like coffee cup stains.
Yeah, well,
it was so thin. It looked like someone had put a few mugs down, spilt the coffee, and that's what was left.
Well, I was having a conversation with a couple of people online, and we seemed to think he'd actually cooked the acetate. It just looked like he cooked acetate, and like, oh shit, I'm not supposed to cook that? Okay. So he did a second one, and the second one came out quite well. Yep. That worked really well, and it was good to see. And again, one of the things we like seeing in people is when you have to go again, that it doesn't hurt you time-wise, and you have the ability to go, I need to do this and redo it. The problem for Kristen was that she redid her one for the first one. She had to redo the main mixture. Yeah. And that time-wise hurt her, so she was pushing the rest of it. As a result, the granita got made later.
Yep, and it didn't set
properly. Which meant the granita didn't set properly. Now, it was really interesting as well because we didn't get to see, for all the stuff they hyped with Jess, we didn't really see her. And Samira, did Samira get any television time tonight?
Yeah, she did. She was trying to push out the granita through. Don't you mean the guava? Didn't you see her trying to milk the guava out, and she only got like 50 grams, not 100 grams, and she's there. It looks like she's like pushing blood through a teat. Okay. It's like she'd been milking a cow so long There was no milk left, and she's just draining the blood from a cow.
Ladies and gentlemen, I want you all to realise we live in a world where the phrase "trying to milk the guava out" is a thing. She was. I mean, look, she was. I remember that. That's the only thing I remember seeing her in.
And when she was talking about it, it's like, I'm going to wring the squirrel's neck.
Moose and squirrel.
Squirrel.
And we love Samira. Absolutely love Samira. More time. Give her more time. Because Samira, all she does is just do it really well. I mean, tonight they said there was an issue, but it wasn't a major issue. It was one slight flavour issue, and that was it.
Yeah.
So
couldn't milk enough guava.
So my thing was, like, they go, oh, it's you know, the last time for the snow egg, and Peter Gilmore was like, it's a great way to send it off, and I'm kind of thinking to myself, because after 6 amateurs have made it in like half the time they really should, I'm not eating one of these ever again.
Just think, that's going to be the last snow egg he eats unless he makes it himself.
Can you just imagine, right, Peter Gilmore staggering home from the pub one night. Fuck, I'm so fucking hungry.
Should have got a kebab.
Oh, well, I don't know.
Oh, is Domino's open? Nah, they're closed.
I don't know. I'm making fucking snow egg. Someone give me the fucking guava.
What have we got in the fridge? Some guava.
Peter,
Fucking eggs.
Peter, honey, what are you doing? I'm making a fucking grenade. Leave me alone. Whoa, boy, that's coming back.
Oh, what's in this garden? I'll get some fresh from the garden. Oh, look, it's an aphid.
Wave of the future. Now, I know that he praised her, but when Jess came in to serve her snow egg, I thought he was going to take out a restraining order. Oh my God, I've loved you. I've loved you since the moment I first saw you. Oh my God, I love your food. I love your food. You're my food hero. You're my icon. I love you. I adore you. I can't believe I'm sitting here with you. I've been trying to make your dish since I was 9.
I love Jess for the fact that she got to say that, because that's what's going on in my head when I meet my heroes.
I know.
But what comes out is... I just shut up now, Kristie.
I know.
You're going to be an idiot.
I know. I was in the room before we talked to Elena.
I know.
And you were doing that. That is legitimate. She was doing that.
Yeah, I go high-pitched and well-like.
But the... she was really enthusiastic. But the other interesting part was they couldn't count. They were like 9. It's like, the show's 10 years old.
She's 19.
She would have seen it. Yeah, she saw it very early on.
Yep.
That makes sense. Count.
Yes, maths people.
Learn to count. Now, Marco raised a really interesting point, and I wanted to talk about it. Timing-wise, especially with a frozen element dessert, how do they do that to make sure it was fair and like the last couple of people didn't get more time for their granita to set and their snow egg to make sure that it's set properly?
Maybe they have a little break anyway while they reset cameras and set up the judging area.
Yeah, but still, whoever gets served last is going to either get an advantage because they're going to be in the freezer longer, or they're at a disadvantage because they'll have to get them out of the freezer earlier and wait around.
I don't know. That's
it's interesting because what they do, again, there'll be someone who will tweet me and go, stop talking about Bake Off, but the souffle challenge of Bake Off.
They staggered that.
They staggered it. Right, they did a staggered finish. They've done it before in MasterChef with a staggered finish, so that everyone didn't finish at once and you didn't have to risk it.
Yep.
I'm intrigued. That's not a conspiracy theory. If anyone goes, it's a conspiracy theory, it's a legitimate question. How do you, production-wise, make that fair and equitable for everybody with a frozen dessert?
Good question. Fair question.
I think it's interesting.
Yes.
So,
maybe they have a time stopper.
So we got to the judging.
Yes.
And they said that 3 of them delighted the judges. Jess delighted the judges.
Of course. She's gorgeous. She's so cute.
Khan delighted the judges.
I guess they wanted to say that Jess delighted the judges in case she went all stalker girl on Peter Gilmore. little boy, bunny boiler. Jess, Khan, and Ben. Delightman.
And Ben.
Delightman.
And again, Ben has practice. So Ben has lots of practice. So he's very good at step-by-step instructions. We know this. We've said the same thing with Chloe. She's very good at step-by-step.
Yeah.
So
step-by-step.
Ooh, baby. If we sing any more, we'll have to pay. royalties. And we're not that rich, so let's move on.
And there we go. Third sound effect.
Cats fighting. So we had the three of them go into discussion about who was going to go home.
It was pretty clear.
They said, look, they tried to say that Sashi could possibly be in trouble. Kristen's melted.
And the meringue was grainy.
Sashi's meringue was grainy. Sashi's meringue was the one that was grainy.
Oh, okay.
Kristen's granita melted, which changed the entire balance of the dish, which meant that none of the flavours held.
Yeah.
What I wouldn't want to be, by the way, is the person, and I watched all of them do this tonight, I wouldn't want to be the person who has to put the snow egg in. Right?
Surely.
It's like a reverse operation.
No. You know what I reckon Peter Gilmore has at his restaurant?
Tweezers? George Tweezers?
No. He has, those onion things that you push down.
Yeah.
And for your cocktail onions, it's like a little springy end. He's got a big one like that for his snow eggs. So it's just...
But again, I just think when they put it in there, it's like a reverse game of operation. You're not trying to take the bone out and not get shocked. You're trying to put the snow egg in
and not get a shock. Because the glasses are all electrified at that point. So to keep the aphids in.
So Kristen goes home.
Keep going.
The aphids will work.
Kristen goes home. I go a little mental and start pretending that everything's fine by posting a lot of random office memes. GIFs on Twitter and...
You okay?
No, I was worried about Khan. I thought Kristen had this. I'm like, it's dessert. She's fine.
Hey. Dry your eyes over there, young lady. You know why?
Why?
Because she got to go commiserate by having her high tea with fucking Nigella Lawson.
That's true. That is true. Happy place. Kristen and Nigella sipping tea together. I wonder how that was.
Would have been delightful.
Would have been gorgeous. Just lovely.
Twinings, like the commercial.
Yep.
No, not a chance in hell Nigella serves Twinings. Anyway, so that's kind of tonight's episode. And then
there's a little bit of the masterclass we need to touch on.
Oh, we do. So, Okay, I'm going to come straight out and just say this bit.
Yeah.
Matt Preston.
Yeah.
What the fuck is wrong with a plate?
Yeah, we want plates. It's a movement. We're sick of having our food served up to us on everyday items.
Thank you, Austenite, by the way, for reminding me about the hashtag. Because
we want plates, yeah.
Oh, so much. And
you can look up the hashtag, there's also a Facebook group.
It's
phenomenal
incredible
what is being served up. Like miniature fucking supermarket trolleys. No one wants their fries in miniature fucking supermarket trolleys.
It's not the first time that Preston this year has served something up on a board.
You know what's happening next week?
What?
Serve it up on a fucking toilet lid.
Possibly.
That's what I reckon.
Possibly. So the other thing we have to mention.
Once you've cooked your goose,
I think I have
put it on the toilet lid.
Which brings me to another Preston thing.
Urinate on it.
Which brings me to another Preston thing.
Yes.
This morning.
Yes.
We finally identified what the fuck the big game is.
Yes.
He was watching England-Croatia.
Uh-huh.
Right. All of this work for the last 2 years' worth of ads of him making cocktails for the big game. Mm-hmm. Turns out it's England-Croatia World Cup semi-final. That's what Matt Preston was making drinks for. Also, the other thing we learnt this morning is that Matt types the word cravat so much that when he typed in Croats, it auto-corrected to cravats. Great effort by the cravats today. And you're like, oh, God.
That's it.
That's Matt Preston's phone. It auto-corrected Croat to cravat. So, just quickly before we finish up, check out the Facebook page.
Yes.
A lot of people have been leaving us reviews. Thank you very much for those reviews.
It's really sweet because, just to get a bit of positive feedback, particularly when we're talking about things that are a bit,
we don't want to talk about shit things. We want to talk about good things.
So to hear, that we're offering a fairly reasonable view is good to know. So
thank you for all those reviews. Please keep them coming in. Also, we have a third entrant.
You mean a third possible gift receiver?
It's an entrant to the gift.
Yes. Siobhan.
So this is good.
Welcome aboard.
We're getting people. And I loved your entry in particular because it talked about the fact that you were...
What I loved is speaking as a vegan.
It was perfect. It was absolutely perfect.
Speaking as a vegan.
It was absolutely perfect.
Really ties in, busting through stereotypes there. Love
exactly. We're looking forward to next week.
Yeah.
It should be good, hopefully. Again, we want fun stuff. We're happy with fun stuff. We will review everything normally next week. We literally just sort of gave it a couple of days just to let everybody have a bit of a calm down and a bit of a think.
Everyone's had to go back to their farm, settle things down.
Yep.
Had to calm the farm.
As I said, I personally, and not to get political here, but personally I think we've actually been pretty even-handed in terms of the way we've done it, because we haven't just criticised one person. We've laid into everyone at some point. And
But it's not even laying into it.
But we've pointed out the issues.
Po body's nerfed, you know?
Exactly. Po body's nerfed. We point out the issues, and it's a discussion on a reality cooking TV show. That's what you're supposed to do, is point out that that's what the narrative's created. And just remember, what you see on TV is a narrative, and it's been created by somebody, and if there are problems with that narrative, then the people who create the narrative probably have to have a bit more of a look.
Yeah, and you're never going to get the full understanding of the actual individual that's on those shows.
No, exactly. And it's only ever going to be a snapshot. So, again, as just to repeat before we finish up, personal vilification, God no. And anything that's reprehensible, call it. You see it, call it.
If you wouldn't say it to your mother, don't type it.
Criticism about perceptions based on TV show, fair. Right? As long as you're not playing the person, you're playing the issue, fair. And on that note, I'm still Chris.
I'm still Kristie.
And we will catch you all on Sunday night.
Wow!